I don't want to be strong like man who look pretty. I want to be strong like bitch that fight bears in the forest.
Welcome to another episode of Bitch versus Bear with your hosts, me, Amber, and my bestie, Sydney.
Woohoo!
We are co owners of Shield Maiden Training Co., and this is a show where we bitch, laugh, and chat about all things fitness and wellness related to women and the LGBTQIA community.
Look at you go. You took
Right?
like the breath to the right place and
Right?
yeah, that was
I got it
fantastic.
down
Yeah, that was great.
a year and some odd weeks in.
It's 60 episodes later.
Uh,
Nice job. Nice job.
it's almost we're deep in the holidays here, so
We're
give me
deep
a
in the
break now.
holidays, which is why we're going to talk about something that I don't think gets enough attention. Everybody is,
Except by us.
except by us. Everybody knows that the holidays can be scary, stressful,
Mhm.
just increase anxiety, all the things, right? You know
Yes,
that. But it's different for different stages of life.
it is.
So, like, what stresses me out might not be the thing stressing out the 20-year-old.
True.
So, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into that today.
Ooh,
I know, very
okay.
exciting. So, holiday stress affects everyone differently based on kind of those life stages, as
Mhm.
people in various stages of life may have distinct challenges and expectations during the holiday season.
It's true.
I suspect that we have a different outlook than, say, the boomers, the
Mhm.
65 plus.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're gonna kind of go through. These are not all of the stages of life. I had to it's been a very long episode. So I kind of did some lumping,
I
like
know.
lumps of coal.
I didn't see the podcasting stage of life.
Yeah, right. The Iron Man stage of life. The no kids, but I run a marathon stage of life.
Ugh. Okay. All right. So we're gonna start at the beginning here.
Yep.
Children and teens. Here we go. I
Apparently, they have stress.
don't know what they're stressing about. It's not true. They have lots of stressors. Okay. So children and teens, they, especially younger children, I would say, often have high expectations and excitement during the holiday season.
Mm.
They're anticipating gifts, time off from school, and festive activities, which we'll get into more in the parental stressors. Uh, Stress may arise for this stage age group. I don't know, cohort, if you will. Cohort.
Yes, we're going with cohort for the rest of
Herd.
the episode. Herd.
Um, so stress can arise for these folks if there are family dynamics or conflicts, or if the child or teen has to navigate between divorced parents or blended families during the holidays.
Yeah, I was trying to think about this as like take myself out of my current life stage and put myself back into this life stage and what my cohort was like then. And yeah, thinking about like my friends who were like, "Oh, well, I have to, I spend Christmas Eve with my dad, and then I have to go a 3-hour drive, and I spend Christmas with my mom, and then,
Hmm.
but I have a new stepdad, and like all of that, and I'm like, whoa, I didn't have to deal with that, but like thinking about that now as an adult with like an adult kind of lens is like that's a lot of stress.
Hmm.
Like holy shit.
Yes. As a child of divorce, I can attest to the holidays being a stressful time. And there's also that feeling of FOMO.
Mm,
That's an added stressor because I know for my situation, it was, every other year I spent the actual Christmas holiday with my dad. So like they alternated holidays. But I still had to go visit my dad during the holidays. So it was like this juggling act of like,
mm,
okay, I need to be with my mom for Christmas Eve and Christmas, but then they need to get me to my dad's house for the rest of Christmas break. Or I'm at my dad's house and now I need to get back to my mom's house and have like a day before to transition back into that family unit before going back to school. Like it was a lot of transitioning in a short time with heightened emotions, and it was rough. Like looking back, it was like it was really rough because like when you're at one house, you're missing out on the traditions that you have at the other house. So,
But also, I can imagine, like, trying to be present and be there for
yeah.
those, and, like, I can imagine, like, how did you decide, like, did you when you became an adult, were you like, I will cherry pick the things I liked from this house, and I will blend them to the thing that I want to make.
No, I just stay home.
But also
Because
go
I would still have to visit parents. Up
yeah,
until the pandemic, I was still traveling to go to somebody's house for holiday,
thank God for the pandemic.
right?
But also thinking about this of, like, the time off school,
Mhm.
it sounds like you didn't get a relaxing time off of school
Not really.
because you were in transition. You're like, "Oh, you're here for a week, but then you gotta go back here," and then, like,
Yeah. It's like,
holy
"Okay, school's done. Here's your few days here at this house, and now we've
pack
gotta
up.
pack up, drive. You're gonna be at this house for a little while, then we're gonna go back to the other house, where now you're gonna have Christmas here and open your gifts here, and now it's time for school again."
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
So
wild.
I can see why children's and children and teens, and especially in, like, those kinds of dynamics during the holidays, aren't always the most joyous. Like, it's like, it's a high emotion time, but also there's a lot of added stressors on them as well,
Mhm.
and I think that gets overlooked a lot by parents who are like, "Oh, you're off school. You're fine. Like, how hard could this be for you?" It's like, "Well, I have to uproot my life every 5 fucking days, okay? And then I have a new set of rules that I have to adapt to."
Right? And new people that, you know I mean, not new people, but, a different household and family dynamic where, you know, things might be different, things might be tense. There might be step parents and different siblings that you have to integrate into.
Yeah. And this is that I mean, that's just the level of, like, okay, that's if you have, like, a divorced family or a blended
Right.
family. They're the kids who don't have that dynamic still have a ton of transition in a
Mhm.
really short period of time.
Yes.
Oftentimes, they have, like, relatives coming to stay, and then they're because they're flexible because they're the children, they are then uprooted, sometimes out of their rooms, they gotta go bunk with a
Mhm.
sibling, they're
They're on
on
the
a couch,
couch. I
like
was always on the couch.
so it's like, even those kids who are like, "Oh, I get this time off of school and my family is complete and, like, we're all together and I don't have divorced parents," it's like, they still have stressors too.
Yes. Like, routine is so important for children
Yeah.
and teens, and then you're totally disrupting that routine
Yeah.
for, like, 2 weeks, plus adding heightened emotions of the holidays and sugar and not following your normal diet either.
And then, like, being strung along to because they gotta go to all the, like, Christmas
Holiday
parties
parties and
and yeah, and they I don't know
let's go
about
see
you, but I
weird
wasn't
Uncle
asked a whole
Dave,
lot.
like,
Yeah, exactly. Like, not a lot of people were like, "And would you like to attend this function?" No, they were like, "Get in the car."
get into this super uncomfortable clothing that you're only gonna wear this one time a year,
Yep.
that you don't wanna wear with these uncomfortable shoes, and you're gonna go sit in this stifling hot room with all these relatives that you don't really know that smell real funky.
Yeah. Yes. Wild times.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when everybody's like, it's so magical for the children, it's like, it is,
Is it though?
and also they're allowed to have stress too.
Yes. They are also human beings.
They are also human
They
beings
are smaller, but they are still human beings.
with valid emotions, and they might also be like tense and be like, I no, stop talking to me. Like,
Yeah. That's why
it's
they
a,
throw tantrums.
yeah,
They're overstimulated, they're oversugared, they're out of their routine. It's hard.
it is hard. Okay.
Gosh, that's only child and teens.
Yeah, this is only child and
Oh, okay.
teens.
We gotta.
Okay. So the next grouping cohort, however you want to put it, is I labeled it young adults. So kind of like college and like mid to late 20s. Up
Okay. Yeah.
yeah. So like you have these young adults who are probably feeling stressed of like the financial burden of buying gifts. I
Mm,
don't know if you were trying to buy gifts during college.
yes, it was a poor choice.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So like buying gifts and then they have to like travel. Like,
Yes.
if you're still in college, somebody's like, "Well, you gotta get on a plane, train, bus, automobile, or you gotta be home for Christmas." Like,
Yeah.
none I don't know a lot of college kids who are like, I'm staying put because this is my one 30-day period where I get to like no, they have to like pack up and board up and head out. And
Mhm,
then
mhm.
if you're kind of like mid to late 20s, you might still be doing all of those things,
Yes.
paying student loans, and then you might have the added pressure of now hosting
Yeah.
gatherings. So like this whole time period is just filled with lots of transitions around the holidays
Mhm.
and like add just like the kind of like challenges of that time period. I think we can all think back to our college and 20s and be like, that was a wild time.
It was a wild time.
The reels that I see on Instagram right now are hysterical because I'm like, I feel that so deeply. Like when you're 23 and it's the day before Thanksgiving and like you're out at the bar and you're clubbing and it's great. And now it's like you're in your 30s and it's like you with a glass of wine and just like the turkey that you're stuffing. Like it's just like it's such a weird dynamic. But
Mhm, mhm.
you're in this time you're navigating a lot of like family dynamic changes as well
Mhm.
because now you are an adult and sometimes parents have a hard time seeing you as a full-fledged adult.
That transition is hard for everyone.
That transition is hard for everyone. And then start throwing in things like romantic partners.
Oh, that's a whole landmine.
You're coming home for the first like the classic Hallmark movie, but now add the element of
Surprise boyfriend. Surprise girlfriend.
sexual orientation in there.
Right.
Like, so very much surprised, girlfriend. Wait, what? Yeah, so just like that time is so full of like stress.
Yeah.
And I don't think I appreciated it as much because I was like, I'm just gonna go with the flow. Like this is what the tradition is, and it was easier than making
Trying
waves.
to fight. Yeah.
Yeah. And I understand why people in their 20s and college age are like just out of their mind and are like, I want to go to the club. I need a drink. And then on top of that, like you have people who are like, they're still trying to balance school if they're in college.
Mm-hmm.
Like they just had finals and they're board a plane, or you're newly probably into like your working life, like your
Yeah.
career and things like that. So now you're like, do I take PTO? Will I be
Can I take time off? How
you know,
much time can I take off?
yeah, like what's the standard? Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm the new person because I haven't been here that long. Is it okay? Do I have to cover for other people?
But
It's
mom and
just
dad are telling me I have to come home.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm dating my boss. No.
Don't do that. It's my choice.
So just like that there's a lot of challenges in that stage of life for sure and trying to think of like being really compassionate with those people. They got a lot going on.
They do.
Yeah,
They do.
they
And
do.
they're still, especially those under 25 or college age students, they're still trying to figure out how their brains work.
Yeah.
They're not fully formed yet
But we've asked them to like take on a
to
lot of
be fully
responsibility.
formed.
Yeah.
They're still mostly teenagers
Yeah.
with adult responsibilities, and that's hard.
That is hard. Yeah.
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 Approach them with compassion.
Approach them with compassion. Make it easy for them to say yes and easy for them to say no.
Yes. Love that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I kind of busted out the next ones.
Okay.
So just said
Okay. So we
adult.
have
I just said
different
adults.
we have different tiers of adults here, friends. um I inadvertently gave us the appropriate categories when I was color coding this.
I love it.
So our first adult category is single individuals. So singles may feel a sense of loneliness during a season that often emphasizes family and couples. Societal pressures to attend holiday events with a partner or to meet family expectations around,
Who are you bringing home for the
yeah,
holidays?
romantic partners, children, all that kind of thing, can contribute to stress.
Are you
And
stressed,
this is
Amber?
very true. It is very stressful being the only single person at holiday events.
Think about like like going to like when we were living in Maine, like going to work parties and stuff.
Hmm.
And like, I can't, it's like,
Yes, Sid, tell us how it was.
no, no, no. I'm just like thinking about like, I can't imagine. I use my wife as an example of like, she was like my wing woman in that situation of like, hey, I gotta go to this work thing. Will you bring a baked good? Just butter everybody up.
Yeah, that must have been nice for you.
Yeah, but I can't imagine not having her.
Yeah,
Not
that
that I
must be
married
nice
my
for
wife
you.
just because she can bake things to take to holiday parties.
Though it is a key factor, I think.
It is it is very nice.
It's not a factor.
Yeah. It is a
Um,
winning
mhm, mhm.
prize. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's real nice for you. Um, yeah, being single is definitely stressful around the holidays because there is that pressure to spend this magical time with someone you love, or you're going to work events by yourself and everyone's bringing their partners. And then there you are with your store-bought cookies.
Standing under the mistletoe.
No, because you
Someone,
work with all these people.
anyone.
Or like, going to friends events, friends parties even,
Yeah.
when all of your friends are part of couples.
That is true.
And
Yeah.
there you are with your store-bought cookies
You
and your
don't
tiny dog.
you don't bring store-bought cookies. You bring fantastic cheese.
I am bringing
Let's be
fantastic cheese. That is
serious.
true.
Okay. So the other cohort within the adults category is couples without children. Couples without children may feel societal pressure or personal expectations regarding what a perfect holiday should look like,
Mm,
which can lead to stress. And navigating family expectations adds a whole nother level. We have joked countless times about the like, well, when are you going to have kids? It's like,
mhm.
why do we think that that is an appropriate question to ask great aunt Janet? Like,
Yeah, it's none of your business.
yeah. And then balancing time between different sets of families and kind of managing the expectation from both sides as a couple without children because it's fair, but couples with children have an out a lot of times. They can
Mm,
say, no, we're doing this, we're staying home. And people understand, like,
'cause they have kids.
because they have kids. They're not going to pack up on Christmas morning. They have kids.
Kids should be home.
The kids should be home. Thanks. You come to us because we have the kids,
Yeah,
or our kids are younger and the older kid, like
yeah.
there's a lot of that. But couples without children don't get that thing to fall back on. And so
Mm,
sometimes it's really hard for people to understand, like, well, why can't you? You don't have children. Why does it matter where you wake up on Christmas morning?
mhm,
It's like, because I want to wake up in my own bed.
mhm,
And ideally, I'd like it to be a bunk bed on Christmas morning. Like, like I want to be a kid. But there is that level of like when, and then it gets really complicated if there's like, you have siblings and you're a couple without children, and then you have a sibling that does have children. And
mhm.
then it's like, well, the grandparents are going to go here. And like,
So
that
you
navigate,
have to go wherever the kids are gonna be.
yeah, the navigation of all of that. So it's definitely challenging and definitely stressful, kind of navigating that as a speaking as a couple without children.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, yeah. Okay, what do we got? Okay, final category in the
Adults.
adults section, although I guess
I mean, everybody
I
is,
mean, going forward, it's all adults, but
yeah.
okay. We have parents. Poor folks.
Yeah, and I'm thinking of parents between 0 to 17. Like, that's
Yeah,
the age
parents
range.
with children in the household still.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we're talking about with this category. So there is obviously the financial strain of the holidays. Parents may experience stress related to the cost of gifts, decorations, special meals or treats, special events.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure seeing Santa is not free anymore.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah. You gotta buy all that ear food for them to throw at the reindeer. I don't know. So the pressures to create a magical experience for your children can contribute to major stress during this time of year.
Oh, yeah.
So much.
So much.
Because if we think back to when we talked about the children, they're expecting
A
a
magical
magical time of year,
Yeah.
and it is your job to produce that for them.
So
Sorry about
really,
your
you're a wizard.
wizard Harry. Um, so then there's also the time management stress, juggling family responsibilities, work commitments, holiday preparations. All of this can lead to feeling very overwhelmed.
I think that the reason people have started decorating so early is because moms figured out they can't fit it all in. And they're like, if I just put the
Mm,
tree up a little earlier, or if I just hang the lights a little earlier. And that is what has contributed because they were like, fuck, there's so much to do. And if I can just, move things up 1 week and then boom, this is what we have, which I'm perfectly fine with. I am one of those people that I like it. But I understand that some people, I don't know what Christmas ever did to you or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa, why some people are very offended when things come out soon. I mean, I saw a really funny Instagram, again, going back to that, of a guy being
we are
like,
millennials.
yeah, a guy being like, look, if Michael Bublé releases 3 albums about turkeys and Thanksgiving, then we'll give it its due. But he
Okay.
didn't.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Thanksgiving, that is eh, American Canadian.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
not,
So,
it's
like,
whatever.
I get it. I get decorating a little earlier. When you start putting all these stressors on top of, I understand why people are like, "You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna put the tree up."
Yeah. And it's so much work. Why not enjoy it longer?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm feeling more and more on board with the early decorating.
Also, the
As
lights
long
and
as it's not before Halloween. Like we have to get through Halloween first.
yeah, you gotta get because like that has its own set of decorations.
It does.
What do you don't decorate for Thanksgiving? And I think
I
that's
mean, it's
why
fall decor, which is part of Halloween.
yeah, so it just kind of blends in. Like you take
Yeah.
down the scary
Thanksgiving's
pumpkin and just have a regular pumpkin.
yeah.
So like I can understand why Christmas is bled in because there isn't like strict decor for Thanksgiving.
It's just food.
It's just food. It's just a day drinking holiday. Like
Yeah.
let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So the next one is it's kind of like parents continued. And these are the empty nesters. So this is where like the kids are in college
You're
or
still
they
parents, but they've now left the house.
they they are not primary residents at your home anymore. So empty nesters tend to have like that feeling of like lonely during the holidays, especially when your children are unable to visit.
Mm-hmm.
So adjusting to an empty home during what was like traditionally very family focused can be a really emotional time and very challenging.
Mm-hmm.
And the absence of adult children or the establishment of a new family tradition may cause even more stress.
Mm-hmm.
So like when your
Those
kids
20 somethings.
yeah, those 20 somethings exactly. And I, e- for as much as like being in this stage of my life and being like setting up boundaries and doing those things. I get
Mm-hmm.
it. Like that is a really hard time. You put so much time and energy and focus into creating these magical experiences for many, many years. It's not just
Mm-hmm.
1 year.
Yeah. It's every year.
It's every year. And so there's a lot of emotions attached to those for parents. And then
Mm-hmm.
having that empty nest being like, well, what do I do now?
Yep. That transition is just as hard for parents as it is for, what did we say, the young adults.
It is.
So approach them with compassion.
Approach them with approach them with an open hand and feed them through the fence.
Buy some of that deer food. Um, okay. So moving into later stages of life, we have the seniors. Seniors may experience stress related to health concerns, especially during the winter months. The fear of illness or the loss of loved ones can be heightened during the holiday season. Those who are isolated or living alone may feel a sense of loneliness during a time that emphasizes togetherness.
Yeah.
So the singles and the seniors
Should really get
should
together.
really
I side project. How do we get see a niche market here? No, but I
That's
think
yeah.
yeah, it's very similar to the singles. Seniors, maybe they still have their partner with them, maybe they've lost them,
Mhm,
maybe they're in a facility and
mhm,
they have no longer have as much mobility and things like that. And it's just I can't imagine like getting to that point, having all of these things and just feeling like all you can do is like reflect back
yeah.
you know and it makes me really sad, and I hope that we can remember to like look in on our senior loved ones to
Mhm,
maybe they've passed, but volunteer at a senior center, do those things where not everybody has an option for the holidays, and just being more aware of like you know think about yourself in their shoes. Like you've
yeah,
worked this hard to create magical memories around the holidays, and what would you want?
mhm.
And so the seniors and the singles getting together. I think it'd be a good time.
It'll be something.
So this next one is kind of like a subcategory,
Mm,
and I think it can fall anywhere in between.
yes,
Um, but I thought it was important to kind of like take note of the caretakers.
yes.
So
Very
anybody,
important.
it doesn't matter kind of what age you are or which stage you're in, you could fall into the caretaker category.
Mhm,
And caretakers often experience heightened stress due to the additional responsibilities of caring for others during a busy and demanding time.
mhm,
So, those folks, if you are a caretaker, make sure you're balancing your self care with the needs of those you are caring for. And I know that can be super challenging right now. So, maybe finding creative ways to incorporate that 20 something who comes home and seeing if they'll lighten the load a little bit, like
yeah,
doing things like that. But I do think that caretakers take it on an added burden
mhm,
during the holidays.
yeah. It the heightened emotions and the transitions and the lack of routine and
Yeah. Yep.
especially if you've got an elderly parent that you're caring for as well as younger children.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot to balance. So make sure you're taking care of yourself.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Treat yourself to those Christmas cookies.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So what is important to understand is that while we may feel like stress at the holidays is universal, there are many factors that can cause stressors and they can be very unique to the stage of life that we're in. Strategies for managing holiday stress include setting realistic expectations, prioritizing self-care, and communicating openly with loved ones about boundaries and preferences during the holiday season.
Absolutely. I, all of those things that you just said makes me want to high five you. Like, yes.
Yes, that's exactly what we need to be doing.
Exactly.
And I feel like that, like those, the what are they? Three things are important through all stages of life.
Yes.
Like teaching your children how to set boundaries and communicate those openly is so important.
Yeah.
And then listening to their boundaries, obviously.
Yeah.
Um, and like setting realistic expectations for your children and yourself about what you can do.
During the holidays. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially. And yeah, it's just
Yeah.
such a nailed it. You nailed it.
Love it.
Good job, Amber.
Modeling self care for your children, if you have children, or just doing self care
Yeah.
for yourself.
I do love self care.
It's so good. Mhm.
Maybe I'll do some tonight.
There you
I
go.
had a busy weekend.
You did.
Yeah. Well, that's a wrap on this
Mhm.
week's episode. Don't forget to give the gift
Don't forget.
of don't forgive. No, not what I meant to say. Do not forget to give the gift of bitch versus bear by sharing with all your friends and loved ones.
Yes.
If you think somebody would like to listen to this episode and maybe help them understand what stage of life they're in and why they might be feeling some added stress or
Yeah.
what those stressors might be,
Or maybe why you're feeling some extra stress.
yeah, you should definitely share it. We
Mhm.
highly recommend it.
We do.
We do. All right.
That's it.
Cue music.